Hey everyone, this is Trevor, and I hope you're doing well. Thank you for coming to my show today. So, today's topic, more of a question I'm just posing to the people listening. What economic school do you adhere to? Now, if you don't know, then I'm going to give a little general breakdown of the three schools of economics. First, you have your Keynesian school of economics, basically the broken window theory. And again, I would ask that you go and review these three schools of economic thought, if in case you don't know they are. But Keynesian is, it's government. It's big daddy government, and they're going to take care of you. And you can have, like Canada's a perfect example of Keynesian economics. You can start a business, but there's a lot of government interference. There's a lot of bureaucratic and political interference. Many roadblocks and hurdles for people to jump to start businesses, which is odd because when you start a business, you become basically a tax collector for the government, and you collect taxes from your customers to pay to the government. So you think that government would try to get out of the way a bit more for people who want to be productive in society, but that's not really the case. So Canada, a perfect example of Keynesian economics, a lot of government involvement, okay? Next, you have your Chicago School of Economics. That would be a perfect example of a man who I would recommend listening to is Milton Friedman. I do have his book, and it's an excellent book, free to choose. And I do admire the Chicago School of Economics to a certain degree. I'm not sure how much government the Chicago School of Economics would like, but they do say that we need a certain amount of government to run society. I like to debate that idea. They certainly would say that we need things of the justice system part of the government, which, that includes obviously justice courts, lawyers, judges, prisons, police, military. These would all be government run. But they at least adhere to the thought of, hey, separate government from economy. Okay, that's your basic, Chicago School of Economics. So far, you got two schools there. Which one are you for so far? You want Keynesian, which is basically almost all government control, lots of hurdles, or Chicago, which has, it doesn't want hurdles to business, but it still needs business to collect taxes to pay for those things, such I mentioned, as military, police, your justice system, and they would like government to stay out of your more liberal-sided things, but they do, I don't know, at what point for me, Chicago-style economics is like minarchy, limited government, and you shrink the government down by 90%, and then over a course of time it just gets back to the giant leviathan that it is. So I do like Chicago. I do like like I say, Milton Friedman, blow your mind away with his interviews. Just go up and look him up, and so that's style. Next is the one that I like the most is Austrian economics. That's again, they talk about things that Chicago do, like separate the government from the economy, but they get into ideas. This is where I like the voluntary, free market solutions to everything, such as justice, your military, policing, privatize, and people are scared of that, but we flourish under capitalism. Okay, which Chicago does adhere to as well, too, but I find that Austrian economics ramps it up to that next level. And anyone who does rail against capitalism. I do hear. It's funny, the people that do are always people who, like, I'll just say right now, Russell Brand, he does rail against capitalism from time to time, and he seems to like a bit more socialistic flavor in his life. Yet his £20 million net worth he got because of capitalism. So this is where I find people who do say, oh, we can't have free market solutions and everything. And I think I would like to. I would like to try that, because we have been basically going down the road of Keynesianism with perhaps a few hints of Chicago-style economics, but never 100% Austrian economics has been used. Okay, and again, that's, separate the government. And again, I've talked about this before, of if we're going to have a system of social contracts and government, I'll say the U.S. Constitution's probably the best social contract out there. Can we voluntarily have a government? Can government be voluntary? Could, I don't even like use the word politicians. I wouldn't want to call someone a politician, but we have the so-called people like politicians voluntarily adhere to a constitution, and then have your Austrian school of economics used throughout your nation with a voluntary government somehow. And so free market solutions. We could try that, right? And voluntarily pay, like policing. I have talked about voluntary policing, and this is a concept that I like. And first and foremost, I use the acronym COPS, which is, from my understanding and from what I like to promote, COPS is Citizens on Patrol. So when every citizen has the right to bear arms, you are in fact a police officer. You're a voluntary police. And then above and beyond that, you can gather with your neighbors and have some kind of, like a neighborhood watch. You can pay into, like, free market policing, free market security, and security, I like to call it freedom. They should be, rather than saying security guards, I'd like to have them be freedom guards, because that's what we should be trying to protect, is our freedom over safety. And as Benjamin Franklin said, people who want safety over freedom deserve neither. So, but that's just, I digress in my little story there, but that's what I'm trying to illustrate is Austrian economics is separate government from the economy. Let the free market, which is, it's just people trying to provide things, the goods and services to other fellow human beings. Okay? So get rid of the hurdles of Keynesianism. Get rid of the red tape, the regulations, everything that government does to stop people from being productive. Which again it's an enigma to me, because government is, on the other hand, they're like, okay, we're going to put up all these roadblocks, but yet, can you please collect taxes from your customers to help pay us? So it's like, it doesn't make sense. And then again, Chicago, I do like it, but again, they would have an elected government run, such things are typically usually considered conservative. And then, like I say, like I get to Austrian economics, and this is what I talk about. Like, it's my solution to almost everything is voluntary interactions between people. You should, relationships, business, the trading of goods and services should be voluntary. There should be no use of force, which is what the system of government really does operate under. And I would like to just see, like, if we're going to have constitutions and whatnot, have them voluntarily maintained and run it in a free market. Like I say, if you want to learn more about that, because I'm just giving a general view on here. I know I'm blowing people's minds away, going, oh my, how do you have a voluntary, military and policing? And like I said, I just gave an example of how we could have voluntary policing. Voluntary, like we could have private education, private health care, like free market, peaceful market solutions to everything that's done. And if you, like I said, I'm just giving a general overview of three schools of economics that are out there. And again, we've pretty much, we've worn out our welcome because we've used Keynesian economics, the broken window theory, for far too long. With just a hints of Chicago, I believe it's time now for we the people to move forward and look at using Austrian economics. Okay? And look up people like Murray Rothbard. Like I have his book right here. Okay, what what has government done to our money? Go and look him up. I highly recommend Murray Rothbard, Frederick Hayek, just Ludwig von Mises Institute. Look these fellas up, the School of Austrian Economics. But I really, first and foremost, Murray Rothbard is the man that I do promote on there. And then for other things like your more of your justice side of things, this is why I talk about voluntary governments. Look into someone like Lysander Spooner. I like his take on the Constitution. But yet, I try to figure out how can we do this? How can we have some of the things that we have right now that could work, but how can they be done in a voluntary way? And I just think Austrian economics is the way to go. So, if you understand those three, and then there is the fourth style of economics, which was tried in the Soviet Union, Venezuela, Cuba. I mean, that's complete 100% government control of everything. Okay, and just compare the old Soviet Union, the cars they built, to the cars that North America built and are still building. And I think the cars of North America could be way better without the frickin' hurdles of government. So I look at the clothing, like the clothing they had in the old Soviet Union, 100% control. So I guess you could say that's another form of economics, a really bad one. That takes Keynesian to a whole new level. So again, like the cars, the houses, everything that they had in the Soviet Union compared to what they had, here in Canada, United States. England. I mean, just look at cars alone. Cars, when people are free to choose and try to provide goods and services for people, they do a good job. But again, we do have too many hurdles. There's too many hurdles, and that's what you get with government. And I would like to see them removed, because I'd like to see what our world could be like with the hurdles removed, and people genuinely trying to provide people with goods and services in a peaceful market. And again, with the people are going to be like, oh, I don't know about how do we do the justice and all that. Look at voluntary ways of doing anything the government does. Look at how we could do it as a people. And if we want to have a constitution or whatnot, okay, then let's look at least a voluntary way to have a government. So that's my take on that. What are you? Are you Keynesian? Are you Chicago? Are you Austrian? What school of economics do you adhere to? Are you like the old Soviet Union form of economics? I don't know. You tell me. So I hope everybody's doing well and stay free.